Harry?
I've literally no idea.
I know it wasn't Stairway to Heaven because that was never released as a single, so I'm thinking either Whole Lotta Love or, I don't know, Jamaica.
You've embarrassed yourself because, of course, Led Zeppelin never released a single in the UK during their lifetime. You have made a terrible and pitiful mistake. But never mind, don't worry, you weren't to know. Anyway, so we will be back next week, hopefully. There will be, we'll hopefully have a She-J, which will be an interesting and exciting development on Steve's show. And I'm sure there'll be playing. Maybe Dan's will be back, we're not sure, we can't figure out. But anyway, we'll sort some stuff out. Anyway, so from Houses of the Holy, I'm going to leave you with pretty much the whole 7 minutes of Led Zepp and the Rain song. Thanks to Harry and Rufus. Thanks to Dave the Computer Crab Boffin Guy. Go to the website bbc.co.uk, hear 6 Music if you want to send stuff to us. And Stuart McConey is next, and that's pretty much it. Thanks for listening. Final little Steve Wright style around.
Hey, cheers, Steve.
Surely one of the most unexpected comebacks in the history of rock and roll. That's Black Grape, the brilliant, if short-lived band that Shaun Ryder put together after the Happy Mondays split up, and which should have been a big, chaotic, self-indulgent mess, but actually produced some cracking singles, including that one, Kelly's Heroes, from 1995. Talking of big, chaotic, self-indulgent messes, welcome along to the Steve Show on 6 Music with me, Stephen Merchant. For those of you tuning in because you heard on the grapevine that I might be playing Black Velvet by Alana Miles, there was some talk about it last week because I found it in my cover. I'm afraid to say that you're not going to get any Alana this week because I left the record behind, but maybe next week. Yes, that'll keep people coming back, won't it? Week on, week on. Anyway, we have, as usual, the an excellent music mix. Some songs selected by myself, some selected by you, the listener, and some selected by my band of cronies that I have here in the studio. As I said, cronies there, I did the sort of speech marks in the air, something which I started doing ironically and now do genuinely. I just gave genuinely their speech marks in the air, which was a silly mistake. None of the people listening, except the webcam viewers, will know if that's true or not. It's the kind of intrigue and mystery of radio. Let me welcome along my team, as I call them. I've just speech marked as I call them. I'm going to flag up now every time I speech mark. So you're fully abreast of what's going on. We have Harry in the far corner.
Hello.
Yeah, a little round of applause in the Steve Wright style for Harry. Keep that round of applause going for Rufus, the poshest man in Britain officially.
Exactly.
And of course welcoming back Dan, who's been away for some time.
Hello.
Yeah,
It's lovely to be back.
And I imagine it is a thrill to have you all back. What's the most interesting thing that's happened to you this week, Harry?
I went to Paris, Steve, yeah.
Sacre bleu.
Yeah, Steve Show archivists will go to their online...
And there are hordes of them.
Yeah, they'll go to their online compendium of every show, and they'll remember me talking a few weeks ago about buying a PlayStation 3 for my girlfriend's birthday. I had to give it to her early because I realised I was very excited about it myself, and it basically turned into a present for myself, so I had to think of something else. Surprise trip to Paris. Very good. Went down well, but I came back and I leave the country or hell breaks loose. There's a massive earthquake and my local Tesco's burnt down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Coincidence? Almost certainly. Rufus, what have you been doing? What's the most interesting thing that's happened to you this week?
Well, I've been plunging my hands deeply into the bucket of slime, which is, should Harry go to Iraq or not? And that's been
okay.
I thought of nothing else.
Have they phoned you personally? Because I imagine you're the first person they call.
Well, as you know, I mean, 200 or 300 years ago, in fact, further back than that, my great-great-great-grandfathers charged into battle behind people like Henry VIII.
Really?
Yeah.
You are so posh.
Yeah, no.
That's magnificent.
That's exactly the kind of thing I was doing.
But when you say that they were charging down behind you, I mean, were they kind of peasant folk just cheering him on, or were they actual knights of the realm?
What do you think, Steve?
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Which one?
Of
Which one of
course.
those? So, and to wit, I have a quote.
Of course, he uses the phrase "to wit."
Yeah, very familiar with them. This is a Major General talking in one of London's evening newspapers about whether Harry should go to Iraq or not. And this is my favourite thing he said: "There's no reason why he should get kidnapped by the insurgents. If you are in an armoured vehicle and wearing a helmet, you're bloody difficult to identify."
Yeah,
which is the first one.
Yeah.
So whether he gets out and they say which one of you is Wales, or just read the bit on his hat which says Wales.
Which says Wales.
It's going to be tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the second thing he says is all he has to do is grow a moustache and he would look totally different. And as long as you don't publish photographs of him with his moustache, the enemy won't know what he looks like.
That's magnificent.
Extraordinary.
It's
isn't
good
it?
to know that that is the cream of Britain's military personnel there.
It
That's
is,
what they've
isn't it?
come up with. Grow a moustache and stay in an armoured tank.
And the fact that the instant image conjured up by is it of Al Qaeda fighters with marker pens and
Just drawing a
pictures of
moustache
drawing
on a
moustaches
picture.
on hundreds of. I just love that
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
given that to me, so that's all I've thought about.
That's
this week.
magnificent. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
continue to dwell on that,
I
and
will.
obviously keep us abreast of any breaking Harry and Iraq developments as they come in during the day. What's Dan been doing? That's what a lot of Steve fans are wondering, I imagine, on the web pages.
Well, yeah, I believe the message boards are aflame, Steve. with
They are.
Debate. Apart from eagerly awaiting my return to the studio, I've been massively checking out women this week.
Really?
Massively checking them out. Yeah.
Really?
Because summer begins in April now.
Yes,
so
it
I've
does.
I've walked along the street, just massively checking out
Okay.
a couple of women.
Right, is that sexist?
I think it probably is.
And when you say massively checking them out, what drew your eye normally?
Well, it's because
Was it arse or boob?
it was the second.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good to know. What a lovely, healthy image that you started the show with there, Dan. It's good to know after 4 weeks that this is what you could come up with.
That was the best I could
as
do.
a conversational tidbit. The first
the
thing you've come up with
absolute
is you've been massively checking out
Massively,
women.
yeah.
I'll tell you this though, Dan. If I'm very much mistaken, you do not particularly like the Arctic Monkeys.
Eh?
So therefore, to welcome you back, it's the Arctic Monkeys. From the current album, of course, that's Arctic Monkeys and Fluorescent Adolescent. They are causing much dissent in the studio. Some people love the album, others don't. We're not interested in your opinion. We do not have time, because I'm afraid to say that the show has already descended into laddish locker room style chit-chat, thanks to the return of Dan, who's already been talking about how he was massively checking out women this week.
Massively.
I mean, of course, I suspect that every bloke in the studio is doing that. We've all kept it under our hats. It's the clever thing to do as the modern gentleman. Oh no, I don't think about such things, he says in common society, when secretly his mind's are racing and his eyes are peeking. but of course, one of the reasons that we have felt so ashamed in the past of bringing up such subjects is because it is very much a blokish environment here on the Steve Show, and it's been something I've been trying to fight over the last few weeks. And of course, if you're a regular listener, you will know that I've been seeking out a regular female contributor to the show, a she-j, if you will. I'm not entirely sure where that term came from, she-j. Did you come up with it, Rivers? Did it come in on the email?
I'm going to take the credit for it.
Okay, take the credit. I don't know if it was you, but we heard it was a listener from Jude
I
there.
was first, then not.
Okay, well, interesting. Simon Bell, apparently, but
Me and Simon.
the bellman says it was him. Rufus is arguing. Anyway, we've been searching for a she-j, and I'm pleased to say that each week now we're hopefully going to have someone come down and not so much audition for the role, but see how she slots in with us, the gang, the posse, and I'm very, very pleased indeed to welcome, and I hope you'll applaud in the Steve Wright style, Sammy. Whoa! She's the first person brave enough to come down and chat with us and just hang with us in the crib, and it's lovely to see you, Sammy. Thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
We need very quickly to just get a kind of a sort of brief overview of who you are, what makes you tick. So a couple of quick questions. Age?
I'm 20 and a half.
20 and a half.
Month. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And you are not from London, I can tell. I've got an
No.
ear for accents.
And where would you paste this one?
North, vague north, the
Vague
generic
north.
north.
See, we're not even classed as North anymore. We're further than North. We're hardcore. I'm actually from Newcastle. If you haven't already
Newcastle.
guessed, yeah.
Are you from the very heart of Newcastle?
I was born in the heart of Newcastle. Wall's End. Don't know if anyone listening just went yes. Yeah, but yeah, Wall's End.
Yeah. It is weird, isn't it? Like when if you're a gig or something, and a comedian says, "Anyone here from Newcastle?" Someone cheers. Yes. There's another person in the room.
Oh, a vociferous. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, you're from Newcastle, you're 20 and a half, we've learnt that much. Let's play a record, let's know. No, let's find out a little bit more. And how did you get here today? Did you pay your own way, or did the BBC pay?
I trekked on a donkey. It's a journey that's taken about 2 weeks, but I did it.
Really?
No, I went by train.
Okay. Oh, you, was it regular class though?
Oh, of course, yes.
You didn't just try and sneak on, hide in the toilets?
I've tried it before.
Have you?
It doesn't work.
Did you not? That's so
No.
frustrating, because I got...
Just chuck you out the next stop and look at you, and you feel really bad inside.
That's annoying, because I've got to go back to Bristol in a couple of weeks. And I've made some money, but, I don't like to spend it on unnecessary things, like train travel. Because I know there was rumour and that you were toying with the megabus.
Oh.
Now, I've never been near the megabus. I've seen it
Yeah.
rumble past very near where I live, and it looks like it's full of absolute scum.
It really is, and I always manage to sit next to the lowest of the low.
Really?
The last man.
They're probably thinking the same thing.
Oh dear. But yeah.
And the megabus is like, it's like you can travel to Scotland for £1 or something, is that
I've
right?
gone to Sheffield for £1. London 3. That's a bit pricey.
That
another
immediately
3
has a
hours.
whole tier of people that refuse to get on it. I'm not paying those extortionate rates.
But it doesn't stop. You can't get off. You can't use the toilet if you've got any pride. There's no drinks to be bought. You just
Sure.
sit there. you sit it out.
Yeah.
It's like a war with yourself. It's brilliant.
Wow, okay, so maybe you should go back on the Megabus, and then if you come back on future weeks, you can tell us your adventures. Adventures from the Megabus. It could be a best-selling kind of stocking-filling book for future weeks. Think about it.
Oh, I will.
All right.
I do definitely use it quite often to go to Sheffield, so I could recount tales of that. That's about it.
And now you are a music lover?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I've said that like
Of
an
course.
advert that I won't mention, but yes, I am.
Yeah, and what would you say, who are your top 3 artists as we speak?
Gomez, Duke Special, and Aqualung, because they're coming back into the fray.
Right, well, okay, yeah, and our producer Jude there, up in arms, she's just said anyone from Newcastle. You're cheering now because she mentioned Aqualung, which is excellent news.
And Duke Special.
Well, I
but
thought
I discovered the Duke through Aqualung, did you?
Sorry, let me just say now, she's not part of the show. Do not have a conversation with her. Have a conversation with me, just so that the listeners can hear. Otherwise, it's a very one-sided conversation on the air. That's what we discovered in the past.
Real form.
I just need very quickly to test your musical knowledge, because obviously, in a sense, although you're just welcome to hang with us, you know, in a way, this is a kind of job interview of sorts, you know, because there's big money up for grabs. Just ask these lads, regular contributors. And so I'm going to ask you a quick question. We just played the Arctic Monkeys. Why might the Arctic Monkeys be breaking history again today, making history I should say today, breaking records and all sorts of stuff?
Now, I didn't notice any news today. The best thing to come out of Sheffield since steel? No?
No, I'm sure that is true, but I'm going to have to put a mark against your name, because that means you didn't realise that because of new rules, it means that any online purchase can now be counted for the UK Top 200, which means the entire Arctic Monkeys album may be in the UK Top 200 on the BBC's chart rundown today.
I'd like to point out, everybody, did put a mark next to my name there.
Yes, I did.
That's really cut me deep.
Yes, I did. No, I do not lie to my listeners, alright? And that's an extra one for flagging up what goes on in the studio. We shall talk further to Sammy, and we will also get some of her musical recommendations after we've heard some more music. This is a cracking tune. Bobby Womack from a compilation, I think, called Strange Things and Funky Stuff or something. I'll find out during the record. I've listened to it, Bobby Womack. Bobby Womack, How Could You Break My Heart, from a compilation album called Strange Games and Funky Things, and it's very good indeed. It's worth checking out. It's the Steve Show, back after this.
6 Music.
Turns out we're going to be in Glastonbury, guys. Just listen to that trail, and that's exciting news. What I have discovered is I've only got 2 tickets, plus myself. Obviously I'm going, I'm guaranteed, I'm safe, I'm walking home with that, but so it just means of the 4 people in this studio, only 2 of you can come.
Everything's a competition with you. Isn't
Yeah.
it? You're always pitting your friends against each other.
I
in some
am,
way.
I am.
You
It's
get some sort of pleasure from it.
Divide and rule. I think it's very much the way to approach it. So I'm just hoping that over the forthcoming weeks you will have to do hard to charm me.
Do we each have to do some sort of speech about how much we love you? Like
That's a
in King
great
Lear?
idea. Thank you very much indeed. Like King Lear, he says, of course, being a posh actor.
That's right.
So, well, you've already brought in the Tunnocks tea cakes, so you're well ahead. In fact, to be honest with you, Rufus, you are 1 ahead today, and actually from last week as well, just for being great.
And I'm 2 marks down, well, that's fair.
Yeah.
Can I earn them back in any way?
Yes, no, as the day progresses.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, no, good luck, good luck. Maybe if you'd brought a gift, that would have perked things up a little. I noticed you just swanned
See if I
in
can sort it
with your hair in a
out.
t-shirt. The female voice, in case you're surprised, you've been listening to the Steve Show for 15 odd weeks and you've thought, hang on, a female voice seems unlikely. No, we are, of course, trying on for size our various She-J contributors. Sammy's the first one. She's travelled all the way down from Newcastle, and
Hello.
very pleased we are indeed. And obviously we're quite keen to get the mix, get the measure of who you are exactly, and see if you can integrate into the mix. What do you do for a living?
Oh, I do all sorts.
you?
Anything, really, for money. I'm from gypsy stock, so that's basically how it goes.
Ooh.
I teach children how
So
to
you're
act.
ticking kind of an ethnic box as well, which is
Yeah,
excellent. So you're not just a
yes.
woman, you're also ethnic.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
get in.
Okay.
Right. I teach children how to act. I also teach deaf children how to act 'cause I'm fluent in sign language.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I worked with deaf people for a while when I used to work on a program called See Here,
Oh, you
which is
worked
the
on
program
See
for
Here?
deaf people.
Excellent.
And they are brilliant, but it's very difficult to direct them. And you find that you do sometimes resort to just shouting as though somehow that's going to get through. No, I said left! I said left! Left! And it's not very politically correct. But you do find yourself, if you're desperate and if time's against you, you do find you resort to those sort of measures. But it doesn't work. So I should have
No, it
learned.
doesn't,
What should I have done in sign language?
Well,
terms?
you can do a whole course on like tactics with the deaf, but you're supposed
Okay.
to wave your hand first to try and get their attention. If that doesn't
Right.
work, you actually tap them on the shoulder.
Right.
Shouting really doesn't work unless
Doesn't,
they're hard
does
of
it?
hearing. In fact, my level 1 class, there was a woman who was shouting at the teacher, but she wasn't even shouting. She just turned her back to the board because the teachers are profoundly deaf. And she was going, Jill, Jill. She's not listening. Jill, I was thinking she's never listening.
Exactly.
That's a fundamental rule of my life.
of course, yeah.
So yeah.
So you teach acting to deaf people, which is
Yeah, it's It differs slightly from teaching acting to hearing people.
Yeah.
Because I do teach my hearing class how to act on radio. So you
Yeah,
can't really
yeah.
do that for deaf people.
Well, of course, yeah, absolutely. I remember I had to use a deaf actor when I was working with deaf people, and got him in. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. And the people who were producing it said, "Let's get him back in again." And so I got in touch with him and said, "Can you be involved in the next sketch?" And he started demanding more money, more than we could afford. And I had to say to him, "We can't use you. We can't afford you." And I thought, "You're pushing it, aren't you? I mean, there can't be much work for deaf actors. You're taking a mick, aren't you?" It was outrageous. I just thought it was silly, because it was a great gig for him. I never got to use him again. It's a shame. So if he's out there, you've missed out. Look at what I've gone on to do since. But